Hello, Glamazons, it's me, and we're going to do some fine jewelry must-haves for job interviews. Trying something different, trying to give you guys fine jewelry examples for occasions in life. And so this is going to be for job interviews and or maybe you're going for a promotion. So let's jump right into it. So I'm going to start with necklaces. So if you're going for a job interview or a promotion or a review or something where money's involved, you want something low key and not too big or flashy. You don't want any obvious symbols. You don't want a bunch of glitz and glamour or anything that can be taken the wrong way. So here I just have a little initial pendant. It's very small, the size of a dime. Here I have a very simple bezel set diamond. You know, it's not the time where you want to come in with big obnoxious diamonds, especially if you're trying to acquire more money. You want to look nice, you want to look classy, put together, but you want to look like you want more money. Like you don't want to look like you robbed a bank or something. You know what I mean? Like you don't want to look like you don't need the money, if you know what I mean. Even if you don't, because who doesn't like more money? Here I have a very, very tiny little star necklace. And I think jewelry is important for job interviews and raises and things like that because you want to look polished, put together, established. Jewelry itself is a luxury, so you want there to be something there, but again, you don't want to do too much. So here's a tiny little dancing diamond pendant here. Again, very small. You're thinking classy, dainty. Won't distract from your entire look, but whoever's interviewing you or rating you will look at you and know that you have something on. This is very classy, reminds you of a bunch of designers that do this type of texture. Again, it's there, but it's not too big, not too small. It's not like someone will look at you and think you're not wearing anything at all, but it's very polished. For the gold tone and gemstone lovers, here's something. This is a little chrysocolla, actually. But again, you want to stay away from something big or obnoxious. You don't want to do any faith symbols. You don't want any words or numbers or anything super flashy or religious. You don't want to send any messages. So here's another pretty piece. Again, in these situations, like you don't want your jewelry to distract away from what you're saying or who you are or what you're trying to convince someone else of. You want to keep it very conservative. Like you don't want a nameplate. You don't want like your mom's name or like a huge Star of David or something around your neck. You want to keep it very, very simple and elegant. Here we have a beautiful flattened oval. So it'll catch the light and give you a little something. It'll also help you stand out for whoever was before you, after you, maybe other colleagues perhaps. So like you want to stand out, but you don't want to be doing too much. Here's a small ruby. Ruby is always a great choice. That red is very striking, but the key is this is a very tiny stone. So it just helps. Like, you know what I mean? If any of you have gone for big jobs or promotions, raises, you ladies and gents know exactly what I'm talking about. Like, you want to make sure your shoes are nice, your hair is done, your outfit's appropriate, but you definitely want to have the right accessories, which includes jewelry. At least I think so. I think the worst thing you can do is go in plain. So here we have a nice little pendant, very tiny, very cute. Very tiny, very cute. Again, not doing too much. Will catch the light just right. Make you be a little bit more memorable. And again, it's just elegant. Now, if you want a little bit more of a bolder look and a little bit of color, I highly suggest something like this. Very pretty gemstone. Here we have a citrine. Citrine is great for job interviews. But again, it's not huge, obnoxious. It's not saying party. It's just very classy and appropriate. The key word is appropriate. You want that little something, like this. This is very elegant, kind of retro looking. You don't want to go in with big, obnoxious diamonds. You don't want to go in with huge, obnoxious gemstones. You don't want the big Cuban link chains or the nameplate or the giant heart necklace that your boyfriend gave you. No, you really kind of think about your jewelry when you're going in situations like this. You can even go with a simple little chain. Like this is a little 18 karat gold chain. Very simple. You don't even have to have a pendant, but you just want a little something when that light hits you, especially if you're doing Zoom or WebEx or Teams, video interviews, you definitely want to have a little bit of jewelry on. So now we're going to move to earrings. So of course you can't go wrong with the classic pearl stud earrings. These will not make you stand out. Chances are 8 in 10 women will have come in with pearl stud earrings for interviews. But if this is what makes you feel the most comfortable, then do it. Can't go wrong. Here, again, we have little diamond studs. So the other two women will probably have on diamond studs. So that's usually the go-to. And again, the key is the size. I say you want to stick under 6 millimeters, preferably under 5 millimeters. You don't want big earrings. Big earrings for job interviews and things like that are a huge no. So if you want to stand out, you can do color. These are sapphires. Most people's favorite color is actually blue. So in my opinion, if you want to stand out, nice little sapphire studs might make you stand out above the rest because, like I said, all the other ladies will have on pearls or diamonds. Here I have tiny little gold ball studs. Now, maybe if you have really big ears or like if there's a scar or something on your ears and you don't want to draw attention to your ears at all, I would recommend something like this. Here I have some tiny little blue topaz studs. They're very pretty. Again, the color blue, people really respond well to the color blue. Again, you want to go with small earrings. You don't want big obnoxious earrings. You don't want multiples either. Here we have these tiny little micro hoops from Ana Luisa. They're beautiful. The tiny gold ball studs were from GF Jewelers. I will try to post links below. But look, these are tiny, like baby size. If you have multiple piercings, I would suggest taking them out except one. But if you can't, you definitely want small earrings. Again, if you want to stand out a little bit or if it's, someone definitely you can do color. You can do color, but the key is these are very small earrings. Like they're very, very small dangles. They're like about not even a half of an inch. Like they're very, very small. But again, a pop of color might make you stand out. And I wish you all the best if you are going on interviews and things like that. If you want to do something different from the diamond studs, you can do tiny little lever backs. These are beautiful. These are in white gold. They're absolutely gorgeous. And again, you want some light up by your face. You want something in your ears, but it's not the time for big hoops or like huge dangles and shoulder dusters and threaders and anything obnoxious. So here I have some more tiny little amethyst dangles here. These are probably about 1/4 of a carat each. Very, very small. But again, I think sometimes a little pop of color depending on what you're wearing, especially if you're wearing like an all black suit. I think a pop of color will be fun and make you stand out. Here we have some slightly bigger but still small smoky quartz dangles. Again, these are great if you're like on Zoom or something because you want them to be able to see that there's something in your ear, but you don't want it to be distracting or too big. Let me know your thoughts below. What do you wear when you go on interviews? And you can see I'm really picking a lot of blue earrings. I think blue goes great. People love blue. These are tiny little huggies, little sapphire huggies. Can't go wrong. They're beautiful. Like when you turn to the side, someone will notice them. But again, they're not doing too much and they're not going to distract from what you're saying. So, you're being asked questions and things like that. They're not going to be distracting. You don't want anything that's going to distract the person that's talking to you. If you need a slightly bigger earring, I would suggest something like this. These are tricolor amber. They're not hoops and they're not big, but they're not tiny. Like these are about 1/2 of an inch. I wouldn't go past 1/2 of an inch for earrings during job interviews. I just wouldn't. But based on your face, if you need slightly bigger earrings, I would suggest those. Now, if you are a hoops person and you must wear hoops for some reason, go for the smallest ones you can get your hands on. These are tiny. These are 14 karat rose gold, actually. They're tiny. Like, again, I don't recommend hoops for job interviews. I just don't. But if you must, I would recommend those or something like these. These are in 14 karat yellow gold. Very thin, very small, barely there. Okay, like you don't want anything that's going to be screaming. You don't want anything that people can even see unless you turn to the side. You don't want the big textured hoops for a job interview. But if you must do a hoop, do something like that. Now, let's go into bracelets. I actually don't recommend bracelets for job interviews. I really don't. But if you must, do something like this. Very tiny, very thin, very classic, very plain. This one's rose gold with a white gold tip. Very understated, no noise. This is why I really don't recommend bangles. So with something like this, it's thin, it's silver, 3 beads. You want something very minimalist, very dainty. You don't want anything that's gonna make a bunch of noise or be distracting. You don't want to blind anybody. You don't want them to stop the interview and be like, "Oh, what's that? Where'd you get that?" or whatever. Like, it's not the time. So here we have a tiny little gold bracelet. Again, very tiny. Something that's there but barely there. I definitely suggest that you don't focus on bracelets if you're going for a job interview. I just don't recommend it. But again, if you must, just one per wrist or just one period, and keep it very simple and very understated. Like, the last thing you want is a bunch of clanking bangles and like flashy stones and things like that, or something super heavy. Here, just have a plain silver one. This is actually a little paperclip one. Very simple. And again, guys, I'm trying to show you guys jewelry that I haven't just shown you. So let me know how I'm doing in the comment section below. For the rose gold girls, here's a tiny little rose gold ID bracelet. Like, it's very small, not engraved or anything. Again, you don't want anything that has words on it. Like, you don't want to wear something with your name on it or something that says like live, love, laugh or something. You don't want any conversation pieces. So let's go into rings. I think rings should be kept very, very, very simple, like this. If you have a wedding band engagement ring, of course, like, wear that. But if you don't, other than that, keep your rings very, very simple. And this is a little tiny little key. You can tell yourself, hey, I've got this. You know what I mean? But you don't want anything obnoxious. Again, nothing that's going to blind anybody or be super distracting. You want to keep it very, very minimal. And I'm not showing you matching pieces. I'm just showing you examples. So here's another ring. Like, you can still have a little bit of bling, during an interview or whatever. But again, you just want to be understated, very simple, very elegant. You don't want to distract from the fact that you probably have on a nice suit. You want to make sure your shoes look good. You have a nice handbag, all that kind of stuff. Here's another very small, dainty ring. It's just not the time for the ring with your name on it, the ring with your birth year on it, your great grandma's big honking cocktail ring. No, like, you want to make sure your rings are very, very minimal. Like, this one has an initial on it and you can't even really tell. Like, again, it's okay for someone to know that you have something on, but it shouldn't be distracting. If anything, it should just add to your look. You know what I mean? So yeah, like, you don't want to go in with rings on every finger. If you want to do color, here's a tiny thin little band ring. And again, of course, like, if you wear your clasp ring or like a wedding ring or whatever, that's fine. But just tone it down. You know what I mean? You don't want to go into a job interview with loud jewelry. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, Glamazons.